chilly. I know. We're currently sailing Australia's deep south. There's nothing between us and Antarctica right now. It's where coast meets the Southern Ocean, and it speaks to that. This is so wild. Wildlife flourishes amongst the huge rolling swell lines before they crash into gigantic granite cliffs that have been smoothed over years of relentless pounding. And the deep blue Antarctic waters turn an electric turquoise as they meet some of the world's widest beaches. But it's icy cold. It is so icy! We've just arrived at the very last island before we set off for the biggest crossing we'll undertake in our Australian circumnavigation. That's the Great Australian Bight, 600 odd nautical miles of just ocean. We're planning on doing the Bight very shortly, whether it's tonight or within the next few weeks, we're not too sure. It's a daunting thought at the moment as the season is wrong for travelling west to east. It's blowing easterly almost every single day. So we're waiting for a low pressure system to roll through. We need a strong enough storm that the wind temporarily swings westerly for us to cross. While waiting for such a forecast, we're making the most of Middle Island. Diving for our dinner.
Oh, we could do sushi.
Yeah.
Sushi with an abalone starter.
That would be amazing. This place is also famous for its unique pink lake. I'm sorry, but that does not look like a pink lake. That turns out on this day was not so pink. Dude. That's brown. Welcome back to life aboard Nakama, the 34-foot boat that's been our home for a good 5 years and gets us to places like these. Anything coming to you?
It's fully brown.
What a stitch up. A bit of a jump from the most recent Sydney to Hobart yacht race, which was quite the journey with my dear mother. It's rough, but Beacon's handling the conditions really, really well. But we're back on Nakama, sailing around Australia while completing our degrees and sharing our journey with you until my next ocean race. The Melbourne to Osaka double-handed ocean race that kicks off in exactly a month's time. Excuse me. While we're now at Middle Island, the last time we left you aboard Nakama, we had just pulled into Lucky Bay. Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to my... It was quite a stunning anchorage with crystal clear water and fluorescent white sand beaches that, if you're not wearing sunglasses, your eyeballs will fall out. After a lay day of playing beach games, we knew it was time to move on when one morning we woke with a southerly blowing into the anchorage. Welcome to another day on the South Coast. So we've just left Lucky Bay. Look at this fog coming towards us.
We're becoming a ghost ship.
We've never really had to navigate with fog around. There's 2 islands, something there. It's pretty crazy though, because there's literally like a few islands ahead of us that we're sort of heading for at the moment. And we cannot see them at all. Honestly, if you didn't have a chart, you'd think that we were sailing towards clear water.
Definitely makes me think of Flinders and stuff when they were charting these areas, and you're like coming through here in a big square rigged ship, trying to figure out where you are in the fog without any navigational aids.
I know, imagine them coming into Esperance, because there's so many islands here, so many islands and rocks throughout this whole little area.
Early sea folk and absolute madmen.
We were on our way to a little nook of an anchorage. It was another scenic spot along this coast, which always gets us excited. Well, we're here. It looks absolutely stunning. It looks cool, eh?
Yeah, it looks sick. It looks really cool. Nice to have a little remote joint to ourselves again as well.
This anchorage was stunning for its mountain views and pristine white sand dunes that looked like snow, and led you to another pristine beach. But there was a catch, and it's the same with most anchorages down here. Although we were protected from the wind that had swung back to its prevailing easterly direction, we were completely exposed to the southwesterly swell that never stops, not even for a moment.
The swell's just been incrementally picking up. It's pretty big at the moment.
Oh, see there you can see how much the swell's humping. Full barrels, surfable barrels. Our home and humble diesel-scented and rust-stained worldly possessions were only a mere hundreds of metres from barrelling surf hurtling onto rocks. Nakama's response to such conditions is a tiresome buck and roll.
We've gotten used to the rolly anchorages down in this part of the world. Like, you just can't escape this prevailing south-southwesterly sort of swell, and it almost doesn't matter what the wind direction is, which is what's been tripping us up a lot. So you run away from the wind, which is what we're used to doing, but the swell's always sort of south-southwest, and it creeps into a lot of the anchorages. So like, rolling around is definitely a reality in these parts, but we do our best to avoid it, and I think that's what we're going to do this morning. We've been rolled for a couple days now, and I think we're pretty keen to roll out of here. Snuck in a little one-liner, loved it.
So again, it was time for us to move on in search for a better anchorage.
Oh! Shoeboard!
That was great.
I got that.
Will I have stuff all over my face?
No, I don't know. Not that the camera can see. Breakfast?
Around the headland, we escaped the swell and found a little spot that made for a better night's sleep. Is this better than the other place?
It was stunning over there, but there's something to be said about sleeping, so it's pretty nice here too.
With the wind not favourable to sail to Middle Island just yet, we went land exploring.
We're going for a hike. Sort of just following a full dry truck though.
Which brought us to realise we were not as remote as we thought. Are you actually game enough to do it?
Yeah.
We'd also bumped into one of our buddy boats, Max aboard his catamaran Ditchiol. We had only just become well acquainted with Max, and we're beginning to realise he's a bit of a madman.
Yeah, we're going to have to go here, see where there's that cut in the rocks up there where the trees are.
The white rock?
In this case, Max was determined to do some free-range mountaineering up this 167 metre high granite boulder. These guys are braver than I am. Don't know if I'm that keen to climb this the rest of the way up the mountain. It's very steep. Do you reckon it's worth it?
If you want one, but you can't have it till you get to the top.
I'd love a mandarin actually. Oh boy, look how steep this is. We were gonna try and get up there. It's getting a little bit sketchy. Even Max is chickened out, and he was the least chicken. We've gotten pretty far though. This view is absolutely spectacular. And Max has even agreed to give me a mandarin now. You reckon we've made it far enough? Far enough for a mandarin.
Far enough for a mandarin.
Up team. Done it. Yes! That's amazing! At this point, we had been watching the weather like a hawk. regularly checking for a window to make the jump across to South Australia.
Every week or so, these systems do come up. The plan is to ride the tail of a system across the Bight, and it changes the direction of the wind because there's a prevailing easterly, which is where we want to go.
The crossing had begun to well and truly consume us. And with ever-changing weather reports, we had come to terms with the fact that we had to be prepared to go at the drop of a hat.
It's almost perfect.
This meant engine services and running over all aspects of the boat. We didn't know we were leaving for a 5-night crossing potentially that evening, in a day, or another week or two's time. Bin bag? Paper towel? It's like an operation.
Scalpel.
Oil. Just need the new oil. I just need a little bit more oil.
We are just tossing and turning, umming and ahhing. It's like, do we just bite the bullet? Yeah.
What we did know is that with another day coming to a close, we were inching closer to leaving.
Good morning. We may very well be sailing to our last WA anchorage today.
Determining that the weather wasn't right for us just yet, we continued to make one last hop along the Western Australian coast to get just that little bit closer to the open water between states. So our potential last anchorage is called Middle Island. There's a couple of cool things going for Middle Island, including a pink lake, which is quite extraordinary, really. So yeah, we're off to see a pink lake.
Buried treasure.
And some buried treasure, apparently, because there's a bit of a story behind a pirate living on Middle Island. Anyway, that's where we're off to today, 30 miles away. The sail to Middle Island was set to be a pleasant one. With a southwesterly change, it was a downwind sail weaving through numerous scattered rocks and islands. As we sailed, our cockpit drains filled with some salt water, which is where we noticed an unexpected passenger.
So I think we've picked up a hitchhiker. There seems to be a cricket living in our cockpit drain. There he is.
Poor little guy. He's getting very wet in there. It was hard to think about anything else but this upcoming crossing. After our experience of heading south into relentless southerlies on the west coast of Australia, and now negotiating easterly headwinds, we really feel we may have chosen to sail the wrong way around Australia. There you are, you noisy little cricket.
He's come out to play now.
We know this crossing could be an incredible 5 nights out at sea, but if we choose the window wrong, it could be a 10-day nightmare. I know we've said it, but it really did loom over us. Deliberations. So as we sailed along, trying to enjoy this final day hop, we checked weather report after weather report, studying alternative forecasts, brainstorming plans and backup plans, and stewing over whether we just need to go for it. But Middle Island was a welcome sight.
The island's heaps bigger than it looked on the map.
This island has been on our minds for a long time, and it's always strange to see something you've read so much about finally right there before you. So here we are at Middle Island, and we're not alone. We've used this island as a rendezvous point to meet up with our mate Miles, our other buddy boat that's largely done Australia with us, in order to do the upcoming crossing together. let's go check out and see if this pink lake is really as pink as it states it is. There's a chance we're leaving in the morning, so with lots to see here, we wasted no time. We'll go have a suss, eh? See it for ourselves. What do you reckon you found?
Some sort of ruins from when this used to be a sealing island. Apparently they'd come to the Pink Lake to get some salt for their bland seal meat.
Middle Island was once home to the bustling sealing trade that boomed here in the early days of colonial Australia. Largely profiting from seal fur was the sealer turned pirate Black Jack Anderson, who opportunely took advantage of the uncharted and treacherous waters of this area and supplemented his income by robbing ships that travelled between the east and west colonies. Rumour has it his body and treasure are still remaining on the island. Hi.
I'm letting a video.
Okay. While we didn't uncover much treasure, we did expose a tourism stitch-up. Whoa, how is that a pink lake?
It'll look pink from up.
What?
Nah, it's got a colour to it.
I'm sorry, but that does not look like a pink lake. Dude, that's brown.
It'll be pink in the drone.
So we set the bird up, speculating that what's meant to be a vibrant pink lake can only be seen from the sky. But what was revealed was, unfortunately, and to our disappointment, a very brown lake. Anything coming to you?
It's fully brown. WA is famous for pink lakes. We were putting all our eggs in this basket that this one would be pink. Because, you know, who needs to see multiple lakes? But we've been stitched up. It kind of looks like a caramel lake.
It really does look like a caramel lake. After doing some research, apparently the lake hasn't been its usual pink self since a large rain event in 2022. Usually, the lake owes its colour to a species of algae and bacteria that thrive in the salt water. These organisms are vulnerable to disturbances and changes in water quality, so this rainfall was enough to tip the balance of the salty brine they enjoy. And for now, the lake is brown, but it's expected to eventually return to its vibrant colour. But when is anyone's guess? Well folks, unfortunately, we could not deliver you a pink lake this time. Rightio, said Fred. It's the next day here at Middle Island. Once again, looking at the weather, it looks like our window has been pushed back. We are, however, looking at potentially leaving to cross the Bight tomorrow morning. We'll see what happens, but that's somewhat of the plan right now. So basically we have one more day here at Middle Island, and we've got just the right thing planned to give our minds a break from the anticipation. Rightio, said Fred. Oh. As the water temperature continues to drop, we figured it's finally time to step into our new 5mm wetsuits. Getting these things on requires using a wetsuit lube, which we never knew was a thing until now.
Soph gets claustrophobic, so...
I get so claustrophobic putting this on.
Perfect. Bitchin'.
But once they're on, we're ready to take on anything.
We're two little green beans now.
We're looking for a good supply of raw abalone.
I found like a mother load of abs.
Unlike their green-lipped cousins, they are a far smaller kind of abalone, and typically live in the cracks between rocks. You don't have to be too deep for them either, which makes for a fairly easy harvest. There are lots of them here in the south. You can take up to 20 per day per license holder. But we're wanting to freeze these abalone to take with us, as we don't know when we'll get the chance to dive for them next. So that limits us to a bag of 20.
Yeah. Alright, you spot.
Reaching our bag limit of roe abs, we dropped into deeper water where we might have a chance of getting some of the larger green lip abalone that make their home on the ocean floor. It was while diving for green lip abalone that, by chance, I stumbled across the fish that we've been targeting.
Really? Yeah. You still there?
I yelled out my find, and Slim wasted no time getting his gun.
So good. The one fish we wanted to get before we left here. He's small, but there's no size limit on these. Yeah, but we'll get some nice fillets off him for dinner.
That's awesome. These fish are kind of like a coral trout's crazy uncle, and apparently they're just as good eating too.
We could do sushi.
Yeah.
Sushi with an abalone starter.
That would be amazing.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Success?
Successful mission!
So,
that was a pretty awesome dive, to be honest. Got ourselves our first fish in a while. This is a harlequin. And yeah, got another green lip to try. And then we got just shy of our bag limit of roe abalone. Look at the size comparison of the roe. This is roe abalone and this is obviously the green lip abalone. Look at the size difference between them. We'll probably just shuck these and freeze them down, to be honest, because we're not going to be able to get abalone for a little bit now. So yeah, we'll eat them when we're not around these parts, I guess. So I think on the menu tonight is harlequin sushi. Chili. I know.
and some calamari.
And yeah, of course, and a little bit of calamari because we got a squid last night as well. We've found our first squid. Apparently this whole area is meant to be famous for big squid and we haven't seen a single one until right now.
Come on.
Yeah. You got it?
Yeah.
In the box. Swimming.
Oh, he's big.
Sick.
It's all happening here at Middle Island today. Honestly, we've actually been frothing this place. It's been really cool, hey? Like so nice diving and good seafood hauls too.
It's so funny.
How did it? I can't see, Chili.
She's helping.
Get out of it.
She's ready to help.
That was a really fun dive. Soph's filleting up the harlequin now. We're really stoked we came across that one at the last minute there. We haven't known much about the fish in this area. There was a few there that we knew that were, you know, meant to be good eating today, but we have been wanting to try one of these for a while, so we held off, and I'm glad we did because it paid off and we finally spotted one. So yeah, should hopefully be a tasty dinner tonight.
We're making some sushi and we're gonna bring it over to Miles's boat. We'll eat the sushi there alongside the calamari, the squid that we caught. What are you cooking up there, Miles?
Well, we got some fresh squid that we caught last night.
Good? Mm-hmm. We have a pretty good little medley of ingredients tonight, don't we? Next round, sush malouche.
How's the crazy cold trout fish taste?
Maybe a little less flaky than coral trout.
Tastes like a coral trout. Well guys, you should be able to guess what next time holds for us. This will be the biggest crossing we'll have to do in our Australian circumnavigation. Yep, we'll see you for our Great Australian Bight crossing, 600 nautical miles of ocean ahead of us. To say we're ready for it, I'm not too sure.
That was about 35 knots just then.
Yeah, we're as ready as we'll ever be. We hope you enjoyed this last episode of Western Australia. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, like, and drop us a comment below. And also a huge thanks to our patrons, as always, for making the show possible. Cheers, legends. We'll catch you next time for a big one.